All right, so we're going to talk about paper number one since you have now completed the first draft and I'm working on your comments and feedback. So we're now going to talk about the final version, which is basically somewhat of the first draft and that first look at your picture, and then using the feedback that I have given you to revise your picture, and then aligning your essay to expand on, and then follow directly what the directions below this video say to do. So I want to go over some general concerns that I found on our first draft of our picture projects and essays. And so these were things that a lot of students had issues with. So I want to make sure that it's covered because I didn't repeat myself over and over within the actual feedback that I gave you, because I wanted to make sure that your feedback was as specific as possible. So the first one is to make sure that you're not being representational. So make sure that you really are using geometric shapes, a triangle, a circle, that type of thing, rather than trying to make a character look like an actual character, okay? That's not the purpose of this assignment. The purpose of this assignment is to use those geometric shapes in a way that gives the impression that this is what is happening in the picture. The other thing is to make sure that you're using only 4 colors. And so with that, light blue and dark blue count as 2 colors. So make sure that you double check yourself, you count the colors that you're using before you turn your project in. The next thing is to, again, stick with geometric shapes. I know within Molly Bang, she kind of has like this blob of mother that is with Little Red Riding Hood, but I would really recommend that you stick more with geometric shapes, because this will help you even a little bit more to talk about the geometric shapes and how they're working, but it also makes you make sure that you're not being too representational with your figures. The other thing is to make sure that you follow the guidelines step by step, to ensure not only that your picture is meeting the requirements, but also that your essay is meeting the requirements, especially making sure that you're using the guidelines for this second version of your assignment, the final version, because it will tell you in paragraph 1 you need to include these things and in this order. So make sure that you're using that, because if you do follow that, your essay is going to be really top notch, and it's really just making sure that you have all of the proper stuff in there, and that you're revising your picture in a way that is going to do the things that you're wanting it to do. And the last thing is, if you're not sure about something, if there's a feedback that you're kind of confused about that I gave you, please make sure that you ask me. Sometimes I think that it makes sense, but you may not think it makes sense. So please ask, because I am always here to help. So just send me an email and I'm happy to explain. We can set up a Skype or a Zoom meeting, whatever would be helpful to you. Alright, so for our final version, I'm not going to read the assignment guidelines to you because I think that's kind of a waste of your time. So I'm going to give that responsibility up to you to make sure that you're reading the guidelines. If you don't read the guidelines, it will be very clear to me from the beginning that you don't. And so if your essay looks quite similar to what it did when you first turned it in, it's not going to get a very good grade. So make sure that you're following the guidelines for the essay to a T. There are 5 paragraphs. You should have exactly 5 paragraphs when you get done for the essay. You should include them in that order, and especially answering the questions within each paragraph as they are posed within the guidelines. So if you haven't read those yet, go read them now. And like I said, it tells you exactly what to include in each paragraph and where to put those paragraphs at. Make sure that you're utilizing the rubric that is included with this, and kind of use it as a checklist, right? So as you are right before you turn this essay in, and even as you're sitting down and drafting out your essay, make sure that you're going over those things and making sure that it is aligning with the expectations of this essay and how I will be viewing your assignment. A big thing for this is, since you are going to be using outside sources, you need to make sure that you include a works cited page and cite your sources throughout, okay? So not only do you have that end works cited on the last page, but also you need to be using in-text citations as well. I would highly recommend that you refer to MLA guides for this. It should be an MLA format, so Purdue OWL, on the online Purdue OWL, is really helpful, and that's the one I would recommend, but there's other sources as well, just to make sure that you're using the right format. For the specific part where it's asking for an authoritative source to find information about the history of your nursery rhyme, fairy tale, or folktale, if you're needing help with that, please let me know. I am happy to help you come up with that. Usually the sources that I find are either online or through interlibrary, like the online sources that the library has. So they should be things that you also have access to. Just a reminder, Wikipedia is not an authoritative source, so please don't try to use that. However, it is something as you start your search, that would be an okay place to just start to get an idea of the history of that story, and then you need to go to the actual primary source for that information about the actual history.